Again, good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us for Business Behind the Scenes. I'm Brenda Lewis, Senior Member Relations Manager at the Tulsa Regional Chamber, and I'm pleased to welcome you all today. Before we get started, I'd like to recognize our generous sponsors who make events like this possible. I'm going to share my screen here, everyone. Our small business benefactors are Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma, Exceptional Leaders Lab, Southwestern Payroll, Stride Bank, and TEDC Creative Capital. Again, I'd like to thank these sponsors for their generous support. I'm pleased to introduce today's speaker, Kevin Bryans, owner of KTB Transport. Kevin Bryans is the creator, co-founder, and chief executive officer of KTB Transport, Inc. He began his company with only a handful of trucks and employees, and in less than 5 years, he grew the company to a sizable fleet of short-haul vehicles and over 150 team members. Kevin's mission is to be a responsible employer and to create jobs for hardworking people. His vision for KTB Transport includes continued growth across the South and Midwest U.S. by providing high-quality delivery of goods to consumers. Kevin gained corporate experience as a director of purchasing for Adams Mark Hotel in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and worked his way up to regional VP of purchasing for another company in Chicago. He has earned his expertise in transportation and logistics as a last mile delivery driver and as the operations manager for Free Race Transport. Kevin went to high school here in Oklahoma and is a Navy veteran. He is proud to have attended the School of Hard Knocks as it inspired him to become an entrepreneur, which he considers his dream job. Before I hand it over, I want to encourage our audience to send questions in through the Q&A feature of Zoom. You'll see that at the bottom. We'll get to these for Q&A after his presentation. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us today. I'll now pass it over to you.
Perfect. Thank you, Brenda. I really appreciate everybody that has tuned in today and has joined us. I'm hoping that today I can give you a little bit of insight of who KTB is, what our goals, what our strategies are, what we've been able to accomplish in the time that we've been in business, and where we're looking at to go. And so a little bit about who KTB Transport is. We contract with FedEx Ground. Everybody knows who FedEx is. It's a world-renowned brand name. It's one of the best, if not the best, delivery companies out there. FedEx, I don't know how much you all know about FedEx, give you a little insight on FedEx, but FedEx was started years and years ago with Fred Smith, and he started FedEx, and he grew this thing into what it is today. People didn't believe in him, didn't trust him. His investors weren't confident in what he was going to do, and he grew FedEx into what it is. Well, what I do for FedEx is we are what we call a last mile delivery for them. So we have trucks that go out and make deliveries that you get at your homes or you get at your businesses. So when you see a FedEx ground truck pull up, it's an independent service provider. That's what I am. We have routes that's here in Tulsa. We actually own 42% of all the FedEx ground freight that comes into the Tulsa market. We have routes in Oklahoma City. We have routes that's in Fayetteville, Arkansas, Springfield, Missouri. We're in 5 different stations with FedEx. We have a little over 150 employees. So we've grown this, though we started off with 5 employees, and here we are with 150. I want to tell you how we got there and what our strategy was here in just a bit. But we also have, and we just added here recently, semis, or what we call in the FedEx world, line haul. So when you see the trucks going down the road, that they're pulling 2 trailers with them, what we call doubles, going up and down the road, some of those are KTB trucks as well. We just actually got more contracts with FedEx out of Kansas City for the semis and line haul. So we're continuing to grow. So a little bit about who I am and where I've come from and how I got here. As Brenda said, I was born here in Tulsa. I grew up in the Tulsa area. I actually moved to a little town, Salina, Oklahoma. We were very poor, didn't have a whole lot. At one point, when my mom and dad got divorced, I was raised by a single parent. My mother raised me for several years till she got remarried. And at that time, when she got remarried, then I graduated high school and I went off into the Navy and loved my time in the Navy. I thoroughly enjoyed it, taught me a lot. But I finished my time and I got out and I started my career. Advanced all the way up through the corporate world, and I did it all without a college education. And the only reason why that I say that, that I did it without a college education, because at that time, you could do it with hard work, perseverance, and people didn't look at what was on a piece of paper. They looked at what your accomplishments were. Well, these days, people look at those things and say, well, you need a college degree to be able to get into this. Well, so that's been kind of our philosophy here at KTB, that we just don't look at what's on a piece of paper. We look at where you've come from and the accomplishments that you've had. So now to get to where KTB started. So KTB started back in 2016, and it started with, I was managing another contractor's business that contracted with FedEx and had routes here in the Tulsa area. And I told my wife, I said, why don't I just buy some routes myself and start our own business? We did that. My wife at the time was the crime lab director for the city of Tulsa. And so she said, yeah, I'll help you put together a business plan and let's go to work. And so we did. We worked hard. We found some routes that were available here in the Tulsa area, went to a couple banks and found a bank that truly believed in us and gave us an opportunity. When we started KTB, started with 5 employees and myself. Well, as we all know, as small business owners, when you start off a business, it's you. Everything's riding on your shoulders. You're doing everything you can to make that job successful. So when we started, I was running routes. I was doing maintenance on trucks. I was doing everything that you can imagine. At one point, our homeowners association contacted us because one of our neighbors thought I was running a mechanic shop out of my house because I was taking trucks home to do brake jobs on them or just do routine maintenance and so forth. I'd explained to them I'm just a small business owner trying to keep my business afloat and trying to do the things so I can save as much money as possible. That's what we do as small business owners. We make that commitment. We have what we call passion for our business. If you don't have passion and you don't have the commitment, you're not going to be successful in your business. Because of my situation and where I was at, my wife, she had a really good job. And I said, I'm going to invest everything that we make back into KTB to grow it. I remember sitting back down with our bankers and with our tax accountant, and they were asking me, what's your goals? What do you want to see? Well, our first year in business, kind of give you some insight, our first year in business, we generated about $700,000 in net revenue, okay? When I sat down with them, I said, well, in 5 years, I want to generate revenue of $5 million. And in 10 years, I want to generate $10 million in revenue. They laughed, they chuckled, and it's great. Entrepreneurs come in all the time and business owners come in and they've got these really lofty goals, taking your company from 700,000 to 5 million in that short amount of time. It's going to be tough to do. Well, not only have we done it, we did it in less time. We hit our 5 million mark in 4 years. This year, we're projected to do anywhere from 11 to $12 million. And we've been in business for 5.5 years. So we've been able to do that. But I took everything we had and invested it back into the company. My first year in business, I paid myself $28,000. My next year, I paid myself just shy of $35,000. That's all I took. I did that because I wanted to grow KTB. I said, you know what? I'm going to do it for the long-term gain. I'm not doing it to try to get rich. I'm not trying to siphon everything off this company to try to make a quick buck. I'm doing it for the long-term gain. So that's what we did. And so we kept reinvesting it. We kept reinvesting it. And now we're where we're at now, and we're continuing to grow. And our company has been able to stay financially stable. And we have been able to do the things that we wanted to do and to employ the amount of people we want to employ. We want to continue to employ more people. Some of my goals when I started KTB wasn't to just make a lot of money. We all get into business to make money. Let's don't kid ourselves. That's why we start businesses. That's what we want to do, to create generational wealth, to be able to change our lives, our families' lives, do different things that we wanted to do, to have that freedom. Well, there's an old saying, you'll never work harder for somebody else than you do yourself. That's absolutely true. I can promise you, you all as business owners, executives within companies, you know exactly what I'm talking about. As business leaders, that's what we do. We work hard, we're going to push ahead. But I wanted to create jobs. And I wanted to create jobs here in Tulsa. I love Tulsa. That's why our corporate office is here in Tulsa. It'll always be here in Tulsa as far as I'm concerned. And I love the city of Tulsa. So we were going to create jobs, but I just didn't want to create jobs as a small business owner and be able to offer somebody a decent pay and whatever. I said, I want to offer somebody good paying jobs with good benefits, a good retirement, all of those things that small businesses typically doesn't offer. I wanted to do that. And we've done that. We now have a comprehensive, medical, dental, and vision plan to a great retirement plan and so forth for our employees. And we wanted to create a brand. So as FedEx protects their brand, we protect our brand. We're very proud of it. It's who we are. It's our DNA. It's what we're made up of. We're about honor, integrity, character, all of those things. I'm the kind of person that if I could still do business on a handshake, because I believe, a person's only as good as their word, I would still do it that way. Because if I tell you something that I'm going to do something or I'm going to get something accomplished, then I'm going to stand behind what I say. So being in business, I got asked a question the other day about being in business and what are some things that you struggle with in the beginning, when you start a business? And I thought it was a great question. And I said, if I could go back in time and when we started KTB, that I could do differently, I would have told my wife and my family and my loved ones and my friends, hey, listen, I'll see you in about 2 to 3 years, because the time commitment and the sacrifices that you make as a business owner is great. Because when things aren't getting done or that you're having trouble in certain areas, you're the one that's stepping in to take care of that. My family's went on vacations without me, that they have, went and taken part of activities without me. I have worked from, 4 o'clock in the morning till midnight at night, 1 o'clock in the morning, to the point to where my wife finally says, you've got to go to bed because I know you're going to get up in 3 or 4 hours and start this all over again. At one point, when we started this business, we had friends and family that thought that I was really sick because I'd lost about 40 to 50 pounds because of the stress and because of everything that happened. It can take a toll, okay? And that kind of leads me into my next topic here of what I want to talk about is finding your time. So for me, because of those sacrifices and of that time, and I knew that it was going during the day when everything starts and the phone starts ringing and employees start asking questions and all this other is starting to happen, then now your time is all being consumed. So for me, I'm an old Navy guy, so I get up early. I'm an early riser. You can always find me up between 4 and 4:30 every morning like clockwork. I get up, but that's my time. My family's not awake. My phone's not ringing. I don't have anybody needing or wanting anything from me. That's my time. It can be that I go for a walk, I go for a run, I sit on the back porch, have a cup of coffee, and just think of the day, of my plan, of how I'm going to attack the day, whatever. But that's my time. I would suggest that you find your time. If you haven't found your time, find your time because you need it. I promise you, if you haven't already said, wow, I need to find my time, find your time, because it'll definitely help you throughout the day. The other thing that I want to talk about is our growth and our strategy of growth. So growth is good. And we grew very, very rapidly. And so last year during the pandemic, where a lot of businesses struggled, and I hate that I have a lot of good friends and colleagues that their business really hurt during the pandemic. We didn't. Because of this type of business we're in, we grew over 150%. So our business just exploded. It was already exploding, but it exploded even faster and more rapidly. It actually accelerated us by almost 5 years from what our projections were. So I was all the way up till last January, February of last year, doing a lot of what our support staff is doing, I was still doing a lot of it. So it finally came about June or July, and I sat down with my wife and I said, I'm going to have to hire additional people to help me and assist me. And so she decided that she was going to retire from the city of Tulsa, and she was coming on as our vice president of our company. And since she's the co-founder of KTB, it was very fitting and very suitable. And so she came on. We also hired a CFO for our company, a staff accountant, a HR director. We hired additional safety personnel. So our support staff went from 2 to 3, 4 people to now we have almost 25 to 28 people support staff just here in our corporate office that assist us and helps us. So I did that. And as a business owner, anybody that's a business owner that has had control, and most of us to a certain degree are narcissists, and we are control freaks because this is our baby, this is what we do. And so it's hard to let things go. But you hire experts and you hire these people to be able to take that off of your plate and do that. And you have to allow them to do so. That was a challenge for me, to relinquish that control, give them the opportunity to take those areas and run with it. They're the experts, to bring up new ideas and to challenge me because I'm old fashioned. And so I'm like the guy that says, if it's not broke, let's don't fix it. They bring new ideas and fresh things to me and say, we got to try this. We got to do this. This business is changing. But in the 5.5 years that we've been with FedEx here and doing business with them, our business has changed dramatically. FedEx continually changed. They change their business model continuously, and we have to change along with them. That change was fine with me. But when you tell me that we need to upgrade our IT in our office and we need to do this, it works. But I've realized that that's not my strength. Okay, my strength isn't in the IT department. My strength is being a visionary. I'm a leader. I'm the one that's going to take this company to the next level and work with our executive team and our staff to continue to grow this business. That's my strength. I also realize my weaknesses. I'm not a good HR person. Okay, that's not my strength. That's why we have a great HR team. So you've got to figure out your strengths, and you've also got to recognize your weaknesses. I'm really good with accounting. I'm really good with numbers, but I'm not an accountant. When we started KTB, I did everything from our books to our payroll and everything. How I learned how to do books is I got the book, QuickBooks for Dummies. And I read the book, QuickBooks for Dummies, and that's how I learned how to do QuickBooks. And I started keeping our books. But it's amazing to me how many business owners I interact with and I talk with, and I ask them, well, how's your balance sheet? How's your P&L look? And I don't know, because I'm so inundated with all these other things. I'm not sure my accountant takes care of that or this. I encourage you, know your numbers, know exactly where you stand. Put together, even if you're a small business like we were in the beginning with 5 employees and myself, we still created a budget. We still created all of those things so we knew where we needed to be to continue to grow, or that we just needed to maintain our cash flow. All of those things. Know where you're at in your business. Know exactly where you stand financially. It's extremely important, not to just go to the end of the year and go, your account tells you this is how much money you made or this is how much money you lost. Okay. You need to know exactly where you stand, especially if you're in a pattern of, growing, and you go into a bank and say, I need more money to be able to grow my business. And they ask, well, how's your business on a month basis? How was your last quarter? And if you can't answer those things, a lot of banks are going to turn around and walk away and say, you know what, if you don't know your business, I'm not going to get in the middle of your business. So know your business. Let's talk about workforce. Workforce right now is tough. I don't know if anybody else out there is struggling to hire people, but I can tell you we are struggling to hire people. It is a tough market. We've got our congressmen and senators and everybody that's wanting to raise our minimum wage to $15 an hour. It's already there. They don't have to raise it. It's already there. Okay. People can go work in a job that was typically a minimum wage, $7.25 job, maybe a little bit more. Now they're making much more than that. Okay. I know that we've had to raise our wages. We've had to become much more competitive out there, which causes a challenge. Hiring is a challenge, It's a challenge for everybody. The workforce has changed. A lot of people want to work from home. They don't want to go into an office. They don't want to go out into a truck and deliver freight. It's hot, it's miserable at times, or it's cold and it's wet. And so the job is tough. And so finding those people out there is a tough thing that I can tell you is something that we have done is we've sat down and worked with our team to create new recruiting strategies and come up and say, okay, our demographics that we're looking to hire, what do they want? Not what we want to give them. What do they want to bring them into the company? And so we've had to approach it in that way of going, doesn't matter what we want and what we're expecting right now. What are they expecting out of a company? What do they want? Do they really care about having a retirement program? Do they really care about having a gold star and gold package medical? Or is it that they care about this or that? And so we've had to sit down and really figure out what the workforce that we are trying to attract, what they're wanting. And so, and that's been a challenge and it's still a challenge. And I'm sure some of you all are out there going, my God, I would love to do more business. I just can't even get the people to do it. And it has actually hurt people's growth, businesses' growth. It has actually paused us a little bit from growing because we need to get workforce in to be able to maintain our current business that we currently have. So it is a challenge. It is something that we're all up against. I want you all to know that if you're out there and you're struggling with hiring, you're not alone because we're all out there and we're all struggling. There's more jobs out there than there is people that's looking for jobs. Just hang in there, stick with it. It's going to turn. I promise you, it's going to turn. I don't have a crystal ball, and I shouldn't promise you because I can't really promise you that, but I believe that it's going to turn and it's going to turn and we'll all be in better shape for it. Talking about employees and something that we also had to recognize in our company is because of the current climate and workforce that we were focusing 90% of our energy and our time on our underperformers and our low performing employees, and only 10% of our time on our top performers and our dependable employees and the people that, man, we're wanting to really push KTB to be better and really proud of where they worked at. It's because we were so worried about losing anyone right now and trying to replace them. We said, we got to change that because what we were doing is now we're taking our really good and top performers and they didn't think we cared about them. They didn't think that they were of value to our business because we were focusing all of our time and all of our energy on these lower performer or underperforming employees because we were so scared of losing them. And so we had to change our management style. We had to change what we were doing and saying, you know what, let's focus 90% of our energy on the people that actually want to be here, the people that are proud of where they work at, and doing a great job for us. So we changed that strategy. We said, we've got to focus our time, we got to focus our energy on those people. However, I get it because we fell in the same trap of we just got to try to retain people, because getting anybody to walk through the door right now is a tough go. That's a tough and slippery slope. I get it, but I would encourage you to focus your time and energy on your top performers. And, unfortunately, if you're underperformers or not so great employees leave because of it, then you know what, I'd much rather lose an underperforming employee than one of my top performers. So let's talk about one of the failures that I had. And I know this business really, really well. I feel like I'm really good at it and I'm really passionate about it. So 2 years into KTB, I said, I want to start a second business. And, because we got so many trucks and everything else, let's start a diesel mechanic shop. So I partnered up with somebody and that was a diesel mechanic and was a good mechanic and invested a lot of money into it and got things up off the ground. Well, our business partnership fell apart. I bought them out and said, I want to keep this diesel mechanic shop going. That's what we're going to do. Well, I'm not a diesel mechanic and I don't know really much about being a diesel mechanic or owning a shop. We lost our butts in that business. It happens. However, I learned a lot in that business. I learned a lot. It's one of the things, and that's really one of the times that I started really identifying and embracing my weaknesses and saying, you know what, that's something I'm not good at. That's not something I'm good at. And recognizing and really identifying my strengths of what I was good at, and really taking that and pushing that and really helping focus on the things that I'm good at and the things that I'm not good at. You know, let's get somebody else that may be an expert. Even if you outsource it to somebody and say, you know what, I'm going to pay another company to take care of that or to handle that. Yes, it may cost me a little bit of money, but it's going to be done right. And I'm not going to have to focus, 5 or 8 hours of my time to try to take care of that. Like I said before, I'm not an IT person. So if you brought me an IT problem, I'm probably going to create it, and it's going to become a worse problem for you than what I'm going to be as a help. So embrace the things that you're not strong at. Take when you do fail at things and embrace that and say, you know what, that's not, it's not a horrible thing that I failed, because I realized and I learned so much through those failures. And so that you can take that and be stronger in your current business and your current role, and be a better, owner for your people. For me, as business owner, that I take very seriously. So I have very high expectations. I tell my people, I tell my staff all the time that we are going to be the best. You're going to be part of the best company out there. And my expectations is going to be extremely high. If you're a mediocre kind of person, you're probably not going to be a good fit for KTB, because mediocrity and me do not get along well at all. And then I turn around and tell them, I expect you to have those same expectations out of me as a business owner. Okay, that I'm the best business owner, that I'm making good business decisions to continue to grow KTB, to continue to grow KTB, to continue to offer advancement and new opportunities within our company, and to continue to offer better benefits, better pay, all of those things. I would expect that you would have those expectations out of me. Have those expectations from me, as I have high expectations out of you and in your role. So I don't know how long I've went here, Brenda, but I hope I'm doing okay on time. So what I will say, and what I'm just going to kind of wrap up here just a little bit, is find your time. Take being a business owner or a business leader in whatever role or capacity that you're in, and own it, and be the very best, and take your strengths and realize those strengths, and really drive those strengths. Trust your people. Trust your people, the experts that you've hired and that surround you that may be better at something than you are. Trust those people. Empower your people to make good decisions, because believe it or not, your people really do care. They really want, if they didn't care, the people that care, and the people that don't. And the people that do care, trust them, empower them to make good decisions on behalf of your company, and know that they're representing your company in the best way. I am so glad and I'm so thankful for this time. I hope that something that I've said today, will trigger, or will, you'll kind of relate with something that I've said. I hope that somebody got something, is what I'm hoping. So thank you, Brenda.
Kevin, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Like I mentioned earlier, we have some time for Q&A, so I want to open up the Q&A to everyone here that's an attendee. As I mentioned, the Q&A is at the bottom portion of your screen. Kevin, I start out with a first question. You mentioned you love Tulsa, headquartered here. You will remain here for as long as you're here. What makes Tulsa so unique, though, to start a business?
Well, I think what's very unique about Tulsa is that Tulsa, one, is a great city. Two, you can travel all through Tulsa and get anywhere pretty quickly. But Tulsa, there's a lot of great talented people in the city of Tulsa, but you also have a great pool of people from the surrounding areas as well, from Owasso to Jenks to Pryor to Stroud to Stillwater. So you have all of these surrounding cities and towns that you can also pull resources and bring them into the city of Tulsa. And I think that the community of and the city of Tulsa really embraces small businesses and small business owners. So to me, that has always been very exciting and has really been something that I wanted to be a part of.
It's actually a good segue. What keeps you excited? What keeps you inspired and motivated?
Well, for me, it's a great question. And so what keeps me inspired and what keeps me motivated is that I don't know if anybody else out there has had a employee or somebody that's worked for you that has came to you and said, hey, listen, you're getting a call today or tomorrow because they're going to verify my employment and I'm going to buy my very first home, or we're going to buy my wife or my husband a car that we've never been able to own, 2 vehicles before. To me, that's what motivates me. Those are the things for me that I love. I love being able to create jobs. I love to be able to create opportunities. I am very passionate about just being the person that people trust and rely on, that I can provide something that they may have never had the opportunity to have previously. So that's what motivates me.
I love that. And I'm sure that it sounds like you've created an environment of trust and that folks can approach you if they need advice. And so to segue to that, what advice though would you give to someone who's wanting to start a small business in Tulsa and or the surrounding areas? I feel like you mentioned this in your talk, but elaborate for us.
So if somebody is going to start a business, I was actually asked this question just yesterday. If somebody was going to start a business, what would be something that I would tell them? Well, one, I would tell them that make sure that, you are mentally, physically, emotionally prepared to start it, because you're going to be putting everything that you have into this business. I can tell you that from a financial standpoint, at one point, and during, our first couple of years, because first couple, 2 or 3 years in business, you are putting everything back into the company and you are, trying to just financially make it. Most small businesses fail within the first 3 to 5 years of being in business. In our second year, I can tell you that my wife and I, we maxed out all of our personal credit cards for KTB, okay, to help sustain it and continue the growth of KTB, because I was just growing it. And so we had to financially do it. So advice would be willing and be knowing that you're going to make a lot of sacrifices, that you're going to have to put a lot of time in, I haven't seen one yet. If there's one out there, there's not really any get rich quick schemes or something easy, an easy path, unless you came for money that you start up some big conglomerate kind of business. Most small businesses start off just like I did. We started off with $27,000 in our bank account. That's all we had. And so when you start off, know that you're going to be really inundated with everything and consumed with that business. And it's going to be very, very, the sacrifices is going to be great. So just know that in your first several years of business, that you're going to have to make a lot of sacrifices for that business. However, there's an old saying, short-term pain for long-term gain. So remember that when you start a business, it doesn't matter if it's in Tulsa or wherever it's at, in whatever community, that you're going to be having some pain, you're going to have some stress, you're going to have some long nights, you're going to have some long days. But if you keep grinding and what we like to call grit, if you can just stay with it, you'll make it through.
Kevin, I love that. And I kind of want to touch on your waking up at 4 o'clock. I've seen an article before, and it's from a Marine saying the best way to start your day to be successful is to wake up at 4 a.m. And it's this whole thing about it. But talk to us a little bit about what's special about that 4 a.m. time. Not only is it your me time, but what else does it signify to you?
What it signifies to me is really, that is my time to really focus on me. Focus on what, the stress from the previous day brought over to today. I go to bed at 8:30 at night. So if you need me past 8:30 at night, I'm typically not available. So I go to bed early so I can get up early. So that time there is significant for me because I'm able to look at me. I am so hard on myself, and I look at what I did the day before, the week before, how I interacted with my team. Just recently, because we're changing and pivoting KTB a little bit here and doing some different things, and so with that, and comes a lot of stress and how we're going to do it. So I think my team probably in the last several weeks have thought I was a little bit bipolar. Because one minute I'm going, we're going here, this is what we're going to do, and then the next minute we're going here and we're going to do this. So that time in the morning gives me time to reflect, and I come in, so when I do get to the office and I can talk to my team, I typically will go around, and because I will also tell you, I'm not the easiest person to work for. So I'll go around but I also am the type of person that I can acknowledge where I was wrong, or if maybe I was a little harsh in a certain area, and I reflect on that during that time. So that time to me is so important that I'm able to reflect on not only me and what I've got to do for that day. It's just my peace and tranquility time that is just me. It is so important that I can't stress it enough. Find that time. I can't tell you enough to do that.
Thank you for sharing that. And we haven't necessarily heard that a whole bunch. So it's a nice reminder. Talking about how you've had to pivot, how has your business plan had to pivot to remain successful during this past now year and a half, almost 2 years?
Well, one, we've had to pivot last year because of COVID and the COVID restrictions and so forth that happened last year. But we've had to pivot in customer demands and customer needs. So that's one great thing about our type of business. We don't have a sales and marketing budget because FedEx handles all of that for us. However, because FedEx handles all of that and they bring on a new customer and they say, hey, we're going to go this direction, or we need you to start doing this, we have to pivot our business to customer demand and needs. As most people know, everybody orders a lot of their goods online now. Unfortunately, a lot of brick and mortar stores aren't surviving because of the online ordering, of where that's at. So we've had to change and pivot our business to be able to handle that demand and that need, to where, for an example, when we got Skytook, because we service Skytook and Sperry, and we used to only run 2 trucks out there. Because of the demand now, we run 4 trucks out there. So we've had to double our workforce, double the amount of trucks that we've put out there, so to be able to meet that demand of our customers. And so, yes, they're FedEx's customers. However, they're our customers as well when we go out there and service them, because we own the trucks. The employees work for us. So the more that we deliver out there, the better that KTB does. So we want to keep representing that brand to the highest level.
We actually thank you for that, for letting us know about that and filling us in. I know last year was just a tough year for many folks. We got a question come in. Did you ever feel like quitting, and what did you do to keep going?
Yes.
Good question.
Yes. There's been times where I've told my wife, I'm like, you know what, I just feel like throwing in the towel. And because you're seeing other people get to go do things, or you're just tired, you're exhausted, you've just been giving it everything you've got, and then next thing you know, you think, okay, there's light at the end of the tunnel, and you get up the next day and you go out and you go strong, and it's like that light just went away and it goes dark again. And I've been there just recently, to be perfectly honest, if I'm going to be very forthcoming, because we've got ourselves short staffed because of the labor market, and FedEx has high expectations out of us and standards, and so when we're not staffed up, we're putting a lot of pressure on our people to still meet those expectations, those standards. And so what I do is I look at it is, for me, it's not just me and my family that I have to worry about. I have 150 plus other people and all of their families, could be 300 with their families, that are dependent on me to continue every single day doing what I do. If I throw in the towel, if I say I can't do this anymore, it just not only affects me and my family, it affects a lot of other people. And so people are dependent on me. People are relying on me to make good business decisions, for me to, be a good leader, to continue to encourage. I always tell people, in our leadership team that I can teach anybody how to manage a process. But a leader is somebody that will get up every single day and do things that other people wouldn't do, or be able to get other people to do things that they normally wouldn't do or don't want to do. That's what a true leader does. And that's what I tell myself. I look at, when this is going to be a horrible analogy, so bear with me. So, when you're in a war zone and you have your leader tells you, we've got to go charge this hill. And you go, man, there is 1,000 of them. There's 200 of us. We don't stand a chance. But you still charge that hill. That leader got you to charge that hill and go up against all odds, and you take the hill. And that's how I look at it. When I'm going up against, it looks like all the cards are stacked against me, I still charge the hill. And that's what your approach has got to be. I'm going to charge the hill, even though all odds are against me. So yes, hang in there. If that's you right now, I don't know who you are out there that asked the question, but if you felt like throwing in the towel, don't throw in the towel. It's going to be okay. We've all been there as business owners. I'll be more than happy to give you my phone number or email. If you get down, you can personally reach out to me, because I've been there. I've wanted to throw it in. So please don't, though.
I just got chills, because just right there was the whole epitome of why we have this business behind the scenes series. It's to go behind, your wall and get to hear your story and then share advice. And if you're able to extend a lending hand. And so thank you for opening yourself up to other people. I want to talk about your involvement in the chamber. How has your involvement in the chamber helped you either professionally and or personally?
Well, so because KTB, we don't have marketing or sales. I can't go out and sell you something for FedEx, okay? So from that side of things, it does mean no good to network with somebody to say, I want you to, maybe buy my product or do something different. I joined the chamber, and why the chamber is so important to me is to network, because of small businesses out there. Small businesses employ more people than large corporations do. Okay, all across the country. If you take all of us small business owners, we employ more people than the large corporations. So the responsibility on us is great to do what we do and to be successful at what we do. So I wanted to surround myself with like-minded people and to be able to share my frustrations, share my successes, because a lot of times people, it's so funny. I had somebody that this has been a while back that said, man, it must be nice to own your own business and get to go and do whatever you want to do. And I'm like, dude, you have no idea. You have no idea. I don't get to go where I want to go and do the things I want to do all the time. It's not like that. So when you talk to other business owners and like going, oh my God, I'm in the grind, it's so tough. I'm part of a CEO roundtable I go to every single month with the chamber. It is so great to be a part of that, because you sit around and you say, hey, listen, I'm having this problem. Well, I'm having this challenge with this employee. How would you all handle it? And you're able to take people that's like-minded and bounce those ideas and bounce those challenges off of them. And they're able to give you feedback from their standpoint. And you'll be able to take that and say, you know what, I can apply that, or that doesn't apply to my business, but it's great advice that maybe I could pass on to somebody else. So the chamber for me has been great. I love the interaction. I love to be able to surround myself with other people that is just like me, that has challenges and also has great successes, that we can partner together and talk about all those things. So the chamber has been great for me.
Well, of course, I'm certainly thrilled to hear that. Kevin, what are you most excited for this year?
So I'm most excited this year for, business-wise, because we are really, when I said earlier that we're pivoting, we're really, focusing on the semi or the line haul side of things. And So I'm really excited for that side of growth. I'm really excited that we're able to continue to add additional resources and people to our team. And so for me, because the economy and COVID, I know that we've got another strain of COVID coming in, and I'm hoping that it doesn't rear its head too much here and we're able to keep it somewhat contained, but that we're able to actually meet in person. We're able to continue to grow our business. We're able to go out and really do the things that we didn't get to do last year, and that we've all taken for granted, that has just always been there, going to ball games, going to family functions and all of those that we all just took for granted, that all of a sudden last year was gone. And now I think that for me personally, I have a greater appreciation for those things. I'm a huge family guy, so having all my kids and grandkids over and swim and get to enjoy them and us do family activities, that's what I'm excited about for this year.
We can all, I'm sure on this call, clap our hands and cheer with you that that's what we want the most. We're getting close to wrapping up here, so I just wanted to give you the floor one more time and see if you just had anything else to add.
No, once again, thank you for the opportunity, Brenda. I really appreciate the chamber and giving me the opportunity to talk about KTB, who we are, talk about our challenges, talk about our successes, our strategies. And I am just really grateful for everybody that tuned in and took the time to listen to little old Kevin Bryans here. So thank you all. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Kevin, for your time today, and thank you for your service as well. Thank you, all of you, for being here on the call today. And again, a special thank you to our generous sponsors for making today's event possible. At this time, I'd like everyone's help to answer the following survey question about today's event. On a scale of 1 to 10, how did the event meet your expectations? 1 being the lowest score and 10 being the highest score. I've put the poll up there now for everyone to vote. You can go ahead and do that for us. That would be wonderful, as this helps us shape future connection programming. So thank you in advance for your participation. Give it just another moment here. I think we're waiting on one more perhaps. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for your feedback and for your participation. Wanted to also give you guys some updates on what we have going on here. A few reminders of what we have going on here at the Chamber. We'll be hosting our first in-person event of the year tomorrow. It will be our State of Education, held at the Renaissance Hotel from noon to 1. Tickets can be found on our website, which I'll share here in a little bit. Our second healthcare forum will be on August 6th on Zoom from 9 to 10 a.m. Here we'll discuss the toll COVID-19 has had on children's mental health. Additionally, our next small business virtual networking will be on August 25th from 10:30 to 11:30 on Zoom, and this event is free. You can register for these and all of our upcoming events on tulsachamber.com/events. I've included the link here, but if you all should have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to myself. Email is brendalewis@tulsachamber.com. Again, thank you, Kevin, for your time today. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and to our sponsors. We hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of the day.